Hello, 7th graders. Today we are going to be talking about section 3.3, measures of central, sorry, that's an E, and that's an A, tendency. Now that sounds really crazy, but really it's just talking about mean, median, mode, and outliers. So really it's stuff we've talked about before, but they're just going to call it a tricky name. So first let's start off with mean. Now mean is the average. And to find the average, we need to add all the values. Then, so this is step 1. Step 2 is to divide by the number of values. Make sure you write this down because you are definitely going to want to reference this while you're doing your work. So first we add all the values, then we divide by the number of values. We'll do some examples of this, so don't worry about it. Then let's add median and a median. I hope I can get this all in here. Is if we write the values. Step 1 is to write the values from least to greatest. Then our second step is to find the middle number. And remember, sometimes we have a hard time because there might be 2 middle numbers. So let's put a little asterisk here. This is a kind of an exception. So if there are 2 middle numbers, we're just going to write if 2 to make it a little shorter. Middle numbers, then find the mean. So for example, let's say we have the number set of 1, 3, 5, 6. Let's start with that. So I put them from least to greatest already. Then what I would do is I'd cross out. Wait a minute, I'm left with 2 numbers, 3 and 5. So then I would do what is 3 plus 5? It equals 8. Then I would divide it by 2 because I have 2 numbers here, 3 and 5. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So my median would be 4. That's just a little example. You can write it down on the margins so that you remember, get a little picture of it. So that's if this, then this is what we do for if there are 2 middle numbers. We just find the average or the mean. Then we have our friend, the mode. Let's do him in blue. And the mode is the most frequent. So frequent means the one that occurs the most. The most frequently occurring value. Now, I'm sure when we've practiced this before, you've maybe been able to look at something to remember, oh yeah, that's the mean, oh yeah, that's the median. But on your tests and on your quizzes on this stuff, you are going to have to know what the mean, what the median, what the mode, what the outliers are. You are going to have to know that. So please pay close attention and make sure that you're remembering these terms and what they mean. So couple rules with mode. There can be no mode. So if there's only one of every number, there can be no mode. Comma, when no values occur more than once. And there also can be multiple modes. There can be multiple modes if there are, like let's say there's 2 3s and 2 4s, then our mode would be 3 and 4. So if there's more multiples of numbers, we can have more than one mode. So there could be no mode, there could be more than one mode, or there could be just regular old one mode. All right, let's find another color for outlier. I'm going with green here. Outlier. So what an outlier is a data value or number that is significantly different from all the rest of the values. And a little side note, there might not be any outliers. So what an outlier is let's say we have the data set of 1, 3, 5, and 100. Okay, 1, 3, 5 are pretty darn close to each other. And our outlier in this case would be the 100 because it is significantly different from all the rest of the values. All right, so let's do a couple practice problems. These are just like kind of like the terms or vocabulary words that you need to know to do the practice problems. So make sure you keep your notebook out, you guys. Make sure it's going to ask you to find each measure of central tendency. That's 4 answers you're going to have to do for each data set. So really make sure you have your notebook next to you that you can reference it. Make sure you're getting 4 answers for each problem so that you can do well on this homework and do well on the test. Okie dokie. So here's our example, and this is one that you'll find in the book. Well, not in the book, but it'll be something that's like in the book. And it will say, find each measure of central, so central means center, tendency. Okay, so first off, here's our numbers. $1.10, $1.25, $2, $2.10, $2.20, and $3.50. So first off, we need to find our mean. How we're going to do that is I'm going to just make sure I label everything clearly so that I don't mess up and forget a part. So for my mean, I need to add up $1.10, $1.25, $2, $2.10, $2.20, $3.50. Okay, so to save a little space, I'm going to just combine these and tell you what the answer is. So I know that $1.10 plus $2 would be $3.10. So I got that off for mean, that off. Then if I were to add $2.10, which is right here, I would get $5.20. Okay, so let's then add 125, which would get 645. Check it off. Hey, you guys, make sure you're doing this. Check them off so that you don't forget one or so that you don't do one twice, because you're going to be doing a lot of work here for each problem, so you really have to be paying attention to how neat you are being. So then let's add $2.20, $8.65, and then let's add $3.50 to get 11 there, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Make sure you're lining up those decimal points. So I got $12.15. Is that my answer? No, it is not. If you look back at your definition of a mean, we have to add them up first. Then we have to divide by the number of values. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values here. So I have to take $12.15 and divide it by 6. 6 goes into 12 2 times, exactly. Then I bring up my decimal point. Bring down my 1. Does 6 go into 1? Nope. Okay, let's bring down our 5. 6 goes into 15 2 times again, minus 12. I'm going to get 3 left over. I'm not going to do a remainder 3. I'm going to add another 0. How many times does 6 go into 30? Goes in there 5 times. So our mean is $2 and 25 thousandths. Now this isn't a pretty dollar sign because we don't have a cent value that is 25 thousandths. So basically it's $2.03 if we were to round, but let's be accurate for our mean. Alright, I'm going to erase all of my work so that I can keep everything on the same page. So bear with me while I erase my work here. If you need to see my work, you can always go back and double check it to make sure that you are getting everything down. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to try to find is the median. So that means we need to make sure that our data points are ordered from least to greatest. I did median in blue. Okay, so from least to greatest, $1.10, $1.25, yep. $2, $2.10, $2.20, $3.50. So hey, it already is lined up from least to greatest. So to find our median, we cross off one side, cross off the other side. We want to find the number in the middle. So if we cross one off from each side, that'll leave us with what's in the middle. If we look at our star, it says if there are 2 middle numbers, which we have, $2 and $2.10, then we need to find the mean of them. So I'm left with these two right here. Okay, so first I need to add them. $2 plus $2.10. I would get 10 there. 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay, so I get $4.10. Then I need to divide by the number of values. So I need to do $4.10 divided by 2. 2 goes into 4 2 times, minus 4, exactly. Don't forget that decimal point. Bring down our 1. 2 does not go into 1 at all, so we're going to put our 0 up on top. Then we're going to bring down our next 0. Does 2 go into 10? Yes, it does. 5 times, so our median is $2.05. Okay, so because I had 2 median numbers, I had to find the average of them, which this one was not too tricky because it went into there evenly, thank goodness. All right, again, I'm going to erase my work so that I can keep everything on the same page. So if you need to look at the work again, just rewatch that part of the video. I made it so that you can skip around. So don't feel like you can't skip around at all because it's going to tell me that's okay. Just skip around to make sure that you're watching everything if there's something you don't get. All right, so next we have to find our mode. What color did I do mode in? Oh well. We'll do green. All right, so to find the mode, I have to say what number appeared most often in this data set. Well, I'm looking at my data and I don't see any numbers that are appearing 2 times or more. So there is no mode, so we're just going to write none. And this is how you need to write your answers, just like this. Okay, when I'm done, I'm going to put a box around them because I need to make sure that it is clearly written. So when I go to grade it, I can look and see 2 and 25 thousandths, $2.05, none. I need to be able to see that very clearly. So please make sure that you are writing neatly and showing your work. Your work is all the stuff that I was doing on the side over here. So you won't be able to, you don't see it on mine, but it would be all there. It's just I have a small screen, so I have to conserve. Lastly, we're going to do our outliers. And you'll probably be asking yourself, do I have to write down outliers if there are none? Yes, you still need to tell me none. So if I'm looking at this, I have $1, $1, $2, $2, $2, $3. There really aren't any that are super far out there. There aren't any that are significantly different. So again, I would write none. And then that's my answer. So I need to put a box around it so that I can easily find that. All right, let's try another problem here. Okie dokie, let's do our second problem set here. So now I have the problems, or the numbers, 7%, 4%. Ooh, that's not a very good 4. Let me try that again. 4%, 10%, 33%, 11%, 12%. I can see already we're going to have to order these from least to greatest. 10%, 9%, and 4%. I'm going to have to write these ones down here. All right, so again, we start off with our friend, the mean. He's not mean, he is our friend because he is the average. So how we find the mean, again, we add all the values up first, then we divide by the number of values. So quickly in my head, I'm going to start with, I'm going to use yellow so I don't get it mixed up with the numbers. I'm going to say I know that 10 plus 33 is 43. 43 plus 4 is 47. 47 plus 4 is 51. So I'm going to write that down so I don't get mixed up. Plus 10 is 61. Just make that into a 6. Plus 12 is 73. Get that 12 marked down. Plus 11 is 84. Plus 9 is 93. Check. And plus 7 is an even 100. Okay, so that's my answer, right? 100 is my answer for mean? No, it is not. Do not forget to divide by the number of values. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have to do 100 divided by 9. So it's not going to be a nice, easy number here. Erase that so we don't get it mixed up here. Okay, so 9 goes into 10 one time. Left with 1 left over. Bring down my 0. 9 goes into 10 one time. Minus 9. Bring down my 1. Add a 0. 9 goes into 10. Oops, sorry. Don't forget your decimal points. One time. And I'm going to guess that this is going to be a repeating 1. So what I'm going to say for my mean is 11 and 1/10 repeating. Okay, so next I have to find the median. Okie dokie. I'm going to erase all of my work over here. Again, to find the mean, I just add them all up, divide by that number of values. So to find the median, though, we have to first order from least to greatest. So let's look for the smallest number up here. Looks like 4. Check it off. Then we have another 4. Check it off. Then we have a 7. Check it off. Then we have a 9. Check it off. Then we have a 10 and a 10. 2 10s. Check them off. Check them off. Then we have an 11. Check that one off. We have a 12. Oops. 12. Check it off. Going through quick to make sure I'm getting everything. Lastly, we have a 33. Okay, so to find the median, we just cross them off starting at the outside. So I go 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. This time we are left with 1 on the middle. Make sure to check that you've got the same number checked off on both sides. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers checked off on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers checked off on that side. We really need to find the one exactly in the middle. So you might be crossing them off and then you only have 3 on this side and 4 on this side. That's not good. To find the one in the middle, we have to have the same amount of numbers crossed off on both sides. Okay, so our median is 10. Can erase this. Next, we need to find our mode, the number that appears most often. So if I look through my data set, I noticed, especially when I was writing it down for the median, I had more than 1 4. I have 2 4s, 1 4 there, 1 4 there. And I have 2 10s, 1 10 here, 1 10 here. Now I'm going to look through and see if I have any more doubles. So remember, our little star that we wrote down, there can be no mode or there can be multiple modes. So for our mode, we're going to write 4, 10 because we have 2 modes. And then lastly, we need to find our outlier, if there is one. We don't know yet. Okay, so let's write outlier, colon. Okay, are there any numbers that really stick out as being significantly different than the others? Let's see. I've got a 4, I've got a 7, I've got a 9, I've got a 10, I've got an 11, 12, and then, whoa, I jump all the way up to 33. Okay, so in this case, 33 would be our outlier because it is significantly different. I mean, if you look at 4 and then you jump to 12, that's pretty different, but it kind of gradually increases up to 12. Whereas 33 is a huge jump from our biggest number 12 all the way up to 33. So that is why 33% is our outlier. All right, let's go on to the next little section we're going to do. Okay, so for this section, it's going to say to choose the best measure of central tendency. Okay, so for this one, the question is, what if I wanted to ask everybody in the class what their favorite food was? And I wanted to find which one had the most votes. Okay, so I'm going to poll the class to see who has or what is the most favorite food in class. I have to ask myself which measure of central tendency would I choose? Would I want to find the median? Well, I can't really find the median of people's favorite food because there's not like a middle of steak or find the middle of chicken. Okay, so we can't find median. So if we have all these on our side, we have mean, which is our average, median, and mode. We don't really find the outlier for these. Okay, so I know it wouldn't be my average. I can't find, I think I might have said median before. I can't find the average of a chicken leg. Okay, that's not a number, it's a thing. So we know it's not going to be mean. Can I find the middle of chicken? Can I order chicken and steak and asparagus from least to greatest? No, I can't. Okay, so we can cross off median. What about mode, you guys? If I said, okay, 3 people like steak, so it's the number that appears the most. 8 people like chicken. 5 people like pizza. Well, then I can pick the number that they like the most. So in this case, if I'm looking for favorite food, I'm going to look for the mode. Which one has the most votes? Okay, so for number 2, it says the temperature in January. Okay, so I want to know what the temperature is in January. So for that one, I mean, it's hard for me to even say without saying the answer. I want to know what the average temperature in January is. Okay, so if I want to know what the average temperature in January is, I'm going to find the average or the mean, because that would tell me the average temperature in January. Okay, I wouldn't want to know the most numbers that it appeared in January because, well, temperature is always different. Maybe it's 42.3 degrees today and 44.2 or 1 the next day. Okay, so I probably wouldn't really even have a mode because there wouldn't be repeated numbers. And the middle number really wouldn't do me much good either. So I know it's going to be the average or the mean temperature in January. Okay, so number 3 says if I want to find the distance of something. Let's say the distance from Herman to Morris. Okay, so if I want to find the distance from Herman, well, let's just say from Herman to different places, not necessarily to even Morris. Okay, we just want to know Herman to different places. So for that, I would need to find, why won't this work? Okay, so that's all I have for our notes. Now we're going to do a couple practice problems on page 140. Okay, I'm going to do one from each section to help you out a little bit and to give you an example on how to do it. So for number 1, it says 47, 56, 57, 63, 89, 44, and 56 again. Alrighty, so I need to find the mean, median, and mode of each group of data. If the answer is not an integer, round to the nearest tenth. So like some of those other ones where I don't remember the exact number, but it was like $7.25, I'd round to the nearest tenths. So my answer would be 7, because 2 would round down, so the 0 wouldn't change. It would just be a regular old 7. Okay, so let's start off with the mean. I'm going to use Christmas colors on this one. The mean, I'd have to add them all up. 47 plus 56. I'm just going to go in order because I don't want to get messed up. 7 plus 6 is 13. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. Then I'm going to add 57. 3 plus 7 is 10. 5 plus 1 is 6. Bring down my 1 because 1 plus 0 is 1. 1. Then I'm going to add 63, get 223, then I'm going to add 89, 89. 9 plus 3 is 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 312. I need to add 44. I'm running out of room here. 2 plus 4 is 6, 5, 3. So I have 356 plus 56. Get a 12 there, 11 there, 4 there. So I would get 412. Don't forget, though, to find your mean, you have to divide. After you add them all up, you have to divide it by the number of values. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 values. So I need to do 412 divided by 7. I know it's 7 doesn't go into 4. So I can put an X there so I don't get mixed up on my place values. Does 7 go into 41? Yes, it does. How many times? I'm thinking 5. Minus 35. Then I'd be left with 6. Bring down the 2. How many times does 7 go into 62? I know 7 times 8 is 56. And then I will go up to 63 if I times it by 9. So I'm going to have to do 6 minus 56. So then I would be left with 6. Yep. Add my decimal point because it's telling me to round to the tenths. Bring down my 0. How many times can 7 go into 60? Again, 6 minus 56. Left with 4. How many times can 7 go into 4D? 7 can go into 40 5 times 35. I'm going to stop there because I just have to round to the tenths. So now I'm going to look at my 5. MSA, is it 5 or more or 4 or less? It's 5 or more. That means I need to round that one up, the tenths place up. So my answer is going to be 56 and 7/10. Okay, we got that done. Now I'm going to do a little bit of erasing here. If you need to get these numbers down, then you can pause the video to make sure you get everything down. All of this should be part of your work when I correct it. Because if I'm having to show all this work, then you definitely have to show all this work as well. Alright, so next we're going to try to find the median or the middle number. Remember, to do that, we have to order our numbers from least to greatest. Okay, so first off, that's what I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to start, let's see, which one's the smallest? Looks like 44. There we go. Give it a little X. 44, then looks like 47. Okay, then 56. 56. Two of those guys. 57. 63. And 89. Okay. We got them all down, so now I just need to cross them off from the outside. Let's write median here. Okay, so cross off, cross off, cross off, cross off, cross off, cross off. Boom, we're left with a median of 56. Okay, so again, this needs to be shown in your work. Then we need to find the mode or the number that appears most often. So I know we've got two 56s. We don't have any doubles of anything else. So our mode is also going to be 56. And then we need to say, oh, we don't even need to label outliers because it doesn't ask us to. We just need to do the mean, median, and mode. And we'll put a box around it. And be done with number 1. Okay, let's try number 6. Okie dokie, let's do number 6. Number 6 has the numbers 37. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Looking at 10. Number 6 has the numbers 31, 44, 44, 31, and 38, and it just tells us how many modes, if any, does each group of data have. So we have to answer how many modes. This one has 2 modes. Why does it have 2 modes? Because we have 2 31s and we have 2 44s. So all we have to write is 2 modes. Okay, let's look at 10 here. 10 is asking us to find the outlier and tell how it affects the mean. Glad that we went through this because we didn't add this into our notes. Okay, so let's write down the number set. 37, 4, 7, 3, 11, 9, 13, and 5. Alrighty, so first off, what's the outlier? Obviously, 37. Okay, so this is going to be kind of a pain because we need to find 2 different means for this set because it asks us how does it affect the mean. So first, we have to find it with outlier, and then we have to find it without the outlier. And I mean mean. Okay, so let's add them up. 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 plus 11 is 21. 21 plus 4 is 25. Plus 5 is 30. Plus 9 is 39. So what is 39 plus 13? That would be 12, 3, 4, 52. So this is our, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I do 52 divided by 7, I'd get, it goes into there 0 times 52 into 7. 7 times minus 49. I'd be left over with 3. Add my decimal, bring down a 0. 7 goes into 30. 4 times minus 28. Then I'm left with 20. Sorry, I ran out of room. I did this way too low. So we're going to stop at the 10th place. So without the outlier, the average is 7 4/10. Okay, so with the outlier, we need to add up all the numbers again, all the numbers in our data set. The first time, we only added up these ones because we wanted to find out what the average was without the outlier. Now we need to include that outlier. So I'm going to take the first numbers that we added up and add it to the outlier. So we got 52 plus 37, which would be 89. And then I need to divide that by however many numbers there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. 8 goes into 8 one time. How many times does it go into 9? 1 time. Left with 1. Bring out my decimal point. Bring down a 0. 8 goes into 10. 1 time. Okay, so our outlier is approximately 11 1/10. So now my problem asks me to find the difference between this number and this number. The problem set with the outlier, which was 37, and without it. So this is just kind of like an arrowy thing. Don't think it's a negative sign. So I need to do what is 11 1/10 minus 7 4/10. And I just need to make sure I line up my decimal points. 11 minus 4 is 7. Oopsies. Here we go. Let me make sure I have my pencil here. Is 7. Bring down my decimal point. 0 minus 7, can't do it. Better add my 10 over there. 10 minus 7 is 3. So my outlier is 37. And there is a distance. It raises by 3 7/10 of a point. Okay, so this is our answer right here. Again, if you didn't understand it, please watch that part again. First, we had to find the average with the outlier and without the outlier. Then we had to say, well, what was the difference? With the outlier was higher. That's why we said raises, because this one's higher. And it raised it. It went up 3 7/10 of a point if this outlier's in here. That's why sometimes we want to drop the outlier so we can get a more accurate average. But in this case, we just want to find out how much it raised or how much it lowered it to see what that difference would be. Okay, let's try number 16. Sounds good. Let's try number 16. All right, we're going to try number 16. That's going to be the last one we're going to try out. Number 16 says, which measure of central tendency best describes each group of data? So it's minutes on the internet, and abbreviate that, on internet, and colon, 50, 63, 59, 85, whoa Nelly, outlier, 367, that's way different, and 48. Okay, so I have to say which which measure of central tendency would I want to use. And in this case, I would want to use a median. I would want to find the middle number for this data set to kind of find, where my middle would be. So the reason why I would want to find the median is because there would be no mode, because there aren't any numbers that appear more than once, so I can't use mode. And the outlier, which we talked about when we wrote down, 367, affects the mean too much. We don't need to find how much it affected it, but it's going to affect it way too much. If there's a huge outlier, we really don't want to use mean because it's just going to change the answer too much. So we would want to go with the median because it would find the number that's right in the middle and give us an accurate estimate as to how much time they spent on the internet. Okay, so that's why we want to choose median. Just do your best on trying to explain why. I know it's tricky, but you think about it, there are no modes. The outlier would affect that too much, so we wouldn't want to go with that. We just want to go with a median. So now a lot of these ones that you have to decide, would you want mode? Would you want mean? Would you want median? So just go through that reasoning in your head. Like if I'm saying my favorite kind of jeans, is it American Eagle? Is it BKE? Is it Big Star? What are your favorite types of jeans that you can't find any number values? You can't average the favorite type of jeans. You can't find the median, the middle, because you can't order pairs of jeans from least to greatest. So just kind of use your common sense. Really look back at those definitions that we wrote down at the beginning and say, would it make sense for me to order my favorite juice from least to greatest? No, I can't do that. I can find the one that people voted for the most, but I even can't average that. Okay, so just think of if it would make sense to do that. And always, if there's a big outlier, you probably don't want to use mean. That's another little clue that you can use. All right, for this one, I believe you'll have to look at Edmodo and see the problems that you're supposed to do for this one. Shouldn't be much more than 27, maybe even 26 is all I went to. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, as always, come in before school, after school, and I will be very happy to help you. Thanks for watching.